Hi, today we'll be discussing LeetCode question number 1, called toSum. We're given an array of integers, we're given a target number, and we want the indices of two numbers in this array of numbers such that they add up to the target. We know that there's exactly one solution, so we don't have to touch edge cases, and we can't use the same element twice. So for example, if the target was 8 and the first number was 4, we can't use 4 twice. Okay, so the naive approach to this question is just a nested for loop. We go through the array twice over, and if we find a pair that adds up to the target, we return it. So something like this. Notice also that I'm returning the indices, not the numbers themselves, because that's what the question is asking. So as for runtime, the runtime of this is going to be n squared since we're iterating over array twice over. And obviously, we can do something better than this. So the first thing that we notice is that our second for loop over here is basically what it's trying to find what we call the complement. The complement in this case being the target minus the first iteration's value that we're passing over. So for example, if we're passing over 2, the complement is 7. And we're trying to find 7 through other means. So instead of using a second for loop, maybe one way of speeding this up is through a hash map. With this hash map, we're going to iterate over the entire array, and we're going to record every single value into here based on their number and their indices inside the array. So we can just say something like this. And if we console.log the map, it should show, yep, 2 at index 0, 7 at index 1, and so on and so forth. So we can do a second pass now. And we want to say if, so actually let's call the complement first. Great. So now I want to say if this map has the complement and that our index that we're on isn't the same as the mapping of that number, we want to return I and the index in the map. So once again, this statement over here is to make sure that we don't use the same element twice. We don't want to make sure that our index that we're passing over in the loop is the same index that we're passing over in the map. We can try this. Works just fine. Works just fine. It's a lot faster. Okay, so I would say this is probably the best runtime that we can get. This is O of n because we definitely have to pass over the array, at worst, the whole array. But there is one slight optimization that we could do, and that is actually doing all of this work in one pass. So we can call this our two-pass solution. And so once again, we have our map, we have our loop. And once again, let's define our complement. And so this, in this case, we're still going to ask if the map has our complement. And If it's not undefined, we just return I map complement. But because of this, we also have to start building our map. So if it's undefined, then we just start building it up. So we can say map nums I equals I. So what I basically did was I did this whole operation from lines 20 to 21, sorry, 20 to 22 inside this else statement over here. So we check every complement in the past while building the map at the same time. And if we try it, works just fine, works just fine. Cool. One more thing to address, we don't have to check this statement inside our one pass over here, because since we're building the map afterwards, we'll make sure that the index that we're passing over at the moment is never the same as index inside the mapping. And that's it. If you have, oh sorry, the runtime for this is going to still be all events since we're only doing a one pass. And yeah, that's it. If you have any other questions for me, please let me know. I'll have a link to the question down below. And yeah, have fun doing this question.